Paige Kaplan is a longtime member of our congregation, but she is our first engagement and experience manager. And recently, Paige completed her first year of working here. She has made a remarkable series of contributions to our community in that first year. I also realized this evening you have quite a remarkable title, Paige, that we gave you, because these words engagement and experience and manager basically suggest that you can contribute to just about anything that happens in this place. One of the wonderful things about Paige is that she is always willing to contribute and to give of herself in very productive and creative ways. And I asked her to contribute to this experience on this night by offering a Devar Torah and to give some kind of retrospective on this past year, but also to explain a bit more what she does and how her work is contributing to our community and its future. So, Paige.
Good evening. I hope it doesn't get too windy because I realized before I came up here that I did not number the pages. There are a lot of them, not because I have a lot to say, but because my eyes are old and I can't see them unless it's 18-point font. So this week's Torah portion, Bamidbar, starts with God speaking to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting, telling him to take a census. And Rabbi Morrison, as he said, asked me to speak tonight about engagement. So let's begin with the text. Bamidbar is the beginning of the book of Numbers. The book gets its English name from the very censuses that are described in this portion, each with a different purpose. The number of able-bodied men available to serve as soldiers, the number of Levites, and the numbers in the family of Kohath, a Levite subclan. This portion is about a census, a counting of all Israelites. Rabbi Isaac Aramah, who lived in Spain in the 15th century, teaches that God told Moses to count the Israelites so that Moses would know that they were all equal in stature, and yet the stature of each one was different, meaning that each Israelite was not just part of the population, but that each one had individual worth. While this portion is about a census, and it says it's a counting of all the Israelites, not all of the Israelites were counted. Women were not counted. Men under 20 were not counted. Anyone who could not fight was not counted. This is the problem with counting people. Some always get omitted. The people who are left out know it, and it hurts. The Hebrew term for counting used in this portion literally translates to lift up the head. The act of counting should lift people's heads and help them feel that their lives and contributions have dignity and meaning. Which brings us to engagement. The action of participating or becoming involved in something. It can also mean establishing a meaningful contact or connection with someone or something. Engagement, therefore, is participating, connecting, becoming involved. If you're engaged in something, you count. You're not left out because you're actively participating. So what's my role in engagement? A little over a year ago, as it's been said, I became Betham's first engagement and experience manager, and I often get asked what my job is. I spent the last year working in collaboration with our clergy, staff, and lay leaders to create this role. When asked what I do, I tell people that I focus on the recruitment of new members and the retention of current members while building community for all members through meaningful relationships. My role in engagement is to ask, listen, and facilitate. Implementing a relational approach involves meeting people where they are. In order to do that, we need to know where you, our members, are. This can be a literal geographic location so that we offer our outreach programs such as Shabbat in the park in the right communities, to the more nebulous concepts of feelings of connection, degrees of involvement, and participation. Focusing on using a relational approach to build community, I've been working with members of the clergy, staff, board, and other lay leaders. I'm going to give a shout out here to the Engagement and Experience team. You know who you are. To determine priorities and pilot programs to engage members in ways that make sense for them. What is your role in engagement? Lift up your head and be counted. Help us to create, show up, participate. Being part of a community is like any relationship. The return you receive will be proportional to the amount that you put in. But I also know from talking with many of you that you are busy. You're schlepping kids to endless after-school activities. You have demanding jobs, or you're caring for your aging parents, or you're managing your own health. But I also know that here at Beth Am, we have so many opportunities to get involved in different ways that are meaningful for you. The top 5 reasons people joined our congregation over the last year were: 1, to enroll their kids in youth education; 2, to find Jewish community; 3, attend worship services; 4, to learn as adults; and 5, to participate in social justice. So if you've got kids of any age and you're looking for a way to teach them about Judaism in a fun, dynamic, and creative way, we've got that. We offer Tot Shabbats, Young Families in the Park, Young Family Havurah, Hagigah, traditional Sunday program, Wednesday teen nights, Beit Midrash for our B'nai Mitzvah cohort, and our youth groups, Badgie for middle schoolers and Baddie for high schoolers. We're working hard to not only engage our kids, but to find ways to include parents so that they can meet each other, build friendships, engage with each other, create community, and feel part of Beth Am. Help us move from a drop and go to a drop and do culture with our youth educational offerings. If you're struggling with life's greatest challenges and need a supportive peer to help you through, we've got that. Our TIKVA program offers one-to-one emotional support for our members who are facing a life challenge. The program matches congregants in need with a volunteer who is trained to provide compassionate support in times of crisis. Our Beit Refuah, House of Healing, is Beth Am's support group for those coping with mental health issues and the family and friends who help and sustain them. You can give or receive mitzvah meals. Our mitzvah meal coordinators reach out to members living close by those in need to make and deliver meals. If you've just had a new baby, are dealing with illness, hospitalization, or family stress, contact mitzvah meals and congregant volunteers will feed you. Our clergy are warm and caring and available to talk as well. Are you interested in learning something new? We've got that. We've got adult learning opportunities for everyone. Feel like you don't know enough about Judaism? Join our Judaism 101 class in the fall. Our clergy are amazing teachers of Torah and Talmud and many other subjects. Wish you'd taken more art history? Want to learn Hebrew? Explore Musar? Our offerings are varied and evolving. Interested in something you don't see? Lift up your head. Partner with us. Create something with us. Are you looking for opportunities to volunteer to make the world a better place? We've got that. Our Dayenu Circle is going strong and working to combat climate change. We're always looking for folks to help out at the CSA Food Pantry. Subscribe to our SEDEC email to learn more about upcoming opportunities. In addition, this summer and fall, Beth Am's Racial Justice and Equity Initiative will be convening several small groups to meet for a series of sessions about how we face our truths about race, privilege, power, and the biases that we all hold. Are you a young professional seeking community? Do you know a young professional seeking community? We've got that in the Orchard, a Jewish community for young adults in their 20s and 30s, with or without children, offering Shabbat programming for adults as well as young families, classes, and social justice opportunities. The Orchard continues to grow and thrive. All this, and I haven't even touched upon the myriad of offerings from Beth Am women and Beth Am men. We've got that. Are you thinking, well, that's great, but none of that sounds like me? Well, now we've got that too. We have identified the life stage from which we have the most attrition, when many members may start to lose their connection to Beth Am, which often has been through their children's religious education. And they may no longer see an obvious reason to be part of a synagogue. In order to better understand this population, meet them where they are, we conducted a survey, a type of census, that gave us useful and actionable information that I'm using to connect people to new programs being developed and ultimately to each other. One of these new programs we are currently piloting in this at-risk demographic is community circles. Community circles are affinity groups organized around activities, interests, age and stage in life, or a combination. They're meant to provide an opportunity to create and deepen relationships and build community at Beth Am. One of our first community circles to get started is made up of members whose kids are in college or just out of college. At their initial meeting, these members described feeling a loss of connection now that their kids are no longer part of our youth education programs. They will spend the next 4 months getting to know each other through a variety of activities, and we'll see where it leads. Are you part of a group which has historically been or felt left out of the count? Lift up your head, let me know, and we'll work on that together. Here's an example from the last year to illustrate. Last spring, I had conversations with members who were of a different stature. These folks were single adult members of our congregation, happily single, some with children, others not. These folks had always been in a different place in our midst. For some, the pandemic had increased their awareness of their differences because they felt even more isolated and less connected to our community. What could we do together to increase their connection and engagement to Beth Am? Well, I think it starts with increasing their connections to each other. So I took a census of our single adult households. I reached out to them and asked them if they were interested in meeting others like them, not for the purpose of matchmaking, but for the purpose of creating community, relationships, and ultimately engagement. 40 or so folks came forward as interested. In January, almost half of them had an outdoor meet and greet. Those who were available got together again in March, and they agreed to do these gatherings quarterly. Others wanted a little more, and they're getting together tomorrow to brainstorm ways to engage with each other. Connections are being made, and community is being created. If you don't see what you want or need, lift up your head. Let me know. I'm listening. I bet there are others like you, and we can create what you want and need together. We are a big synagogue, which brings with it the fullness of community. But community is much more than belonging in something. It's about doing something together that makes belonging matter. And I believe it's these smaller groups where meaningful relationships will be created, connecting individuals to each other and to Beth Am. And to me, that's engagement. Thank you.